Have you ever found yourself looking at a Spanish postal address and not understanding it at all? Watch this lesson and I will help you decode it. Hello and welcome to another Spanish lesson with me, Eva. As promised, today I will help you decode the Spanish postal addresses, okay? Most parts of a typical Spanish postal address are very straightforward and you won't have any problems with, but there is one line that can cause a lot of headache, okay? And it's that line that I want to help you with. But first, let's just see the parts of a Spanish postal address. So we always start with the name of the person, or if it's a company, obviously the name of the company, okay? But let's assume it's a person. We will write their name, nombre, and both surnames, apellidos, okay? If you remember, I think I mentioned it in one of my previous lessons, in Spain, people have, I guess in Spanish-speaking countries, not only in Spain, they always have two surnames. One they, let's say, inherit from their father and the other one from their mother, okay? So Spanish people, as I said, will have one name or one first name, but they will have two surnames or two last names, okay? Nombre y apellidos. Okay, now we come to that tricky part, and it's the street, okay? So you will have the name of the street, calle means street, and the number, the street number, número, and then this will sometimes, not always, sometimes this will be followed by a lot of abbreviations and numbers, okay? If someone lives in a detached house, then it's just the street and the number. But the moment they live in a building with several apartments or flats, you will start adding things here, and it's these things that I will help you understand in a moment, okay? Good. After the street, we have to give the zip code or the post code. In Spanish, it's código postal, sometimes abbreviated CP, okay? And of course, the name of the town in Spanish, localidad, okay? The town, the village, city. Now, this town will be part of a sometimes larger municipality, okay? So maybe you will have to specify which municipality it is, and sometimes, not always, also which province this municipality belongs to, okay? Good. So if you're sending letters within Spain, this is enough. If you are sending letters into Spain from abroad, then of course you will have to write the name of the country. So if this letter is coming to Spain, it would obviously be España, okay? Good. Okay, so país is a country, municipality, province, the name of the town or city with the postcode or zip code, street, and at the very top the name of the person or a company if this is a letter that you are sending, if it's a business letter, okay? Good. Okay, as I said, it's all very straightforward, very easy. I'm sure you're recognizing these parts. Maybe in your country you do it the exact same way. But I do want to help you with all of the different abbreviations that you are likely to find here in this second line, okay? This really is the trickiest one for us foreigners to understand, at least at the beginning, at least to start with. It's like, what is this? Okay, good. So I'll get rid of this just because I'm going to need a lot of space because there's a lot of abbreviations that I will help you with, that I will decode for you. Okay. Okay, so initially I just wrote calle, street or even road, okay? Now sometimes it's not a calle, maybe it's a road, maybe it's an avenue, maybe it's a boulevard, maybe it's something else, okay? So I will write calle again. Calle, and sometimes you will see it abbreviated as just a normal C. Sometimes it will be CL, sometimes it will be C and then forward slash, okay? So all these are different abbreviations of the word calle, okay? So we have either C with a dot, CL, or C with a dot and also forward slash, okay? And then you would have the name, I don't know, Calle Esperanza, for example. Calle Esperanza, just to give you an example, okay? Calle. Again, it may not be a street, it might be a road or something else, in which case, for example, avenida, avenue, you might see it abbreviated as AV or even AVD or AVDA, okay? AV, AVD or AVDA are abbreviations for avenida or avenue, okay? Then you might have a road, which in Spanish is carretera. Carretera is a road, and this one will be abbreviated like this. CTRA will stand for carretera, road, okay? If something is on a main road, but it's outside the town, outside the city, the address will say carretera, I don't know, carretera de maybe Andalucía, and then it will tell you where on this road, motorway, the place is. Maybe it's just a warehouse or maybe it's an office building, but there's no town as such. So the address will simply say Carretera de Andalucía, for example, and then they will give you how many kilometers from the beginning of that carretera, how far it is. So, for example, kilometro 125, for example, no? So you will know that on this road called Andalucía, 125 kilometers from the actual beginning of this road, that's where you will find this place, whatever it is, okay? So a lot of the times carretera will be accompanied by kilometro and then a number, okay? It might be a square, in which case plaza, and an abbreviation for plaza is either PL or PLZA, Okay. I think I've seen also plaza, P-Z-A. Okay, so if you see any of these, it's plaza. Okay, all of these abbreviations will be at the beginning of that second line. Okay, followed then by the name of the carretera or the street or plaza, I don't know, Plaza 2 de Mayo, for example, Plaza 2 de Mayo. Okay, 2nd of May, or May the 2nd, 2nd of May, Plaza 2 de Mayo, and then you will have a comma after the name and the number of the street number. Okay. Okay, then we have another one, and to be honest, I don't know even how to translate this one into English. Travesía, okay, will be abbreviated as TRVA. So if you see this abbreviation, you know that it's travesía. And sometimes when people live in these let's call them compounds, you know, where there's several buildings with flats and maybe some communal areas that they share, playgrounds, maybe a park, some green space, maybe even a swimming pool, etc. These compounds, sometimes gated, are called urbanización. Urbanización. Okay, and it's often abbreviated as URB. Okay, good. So if you see it written out, it's easy. But if you come across these abbreviations, you need to know what they stand for. Okay, good. Okay. Oh, but there's another one. Paseo. Paseo. Paseo, there's a famous street, very wide. It's I would say Paseo is a boulevard. So Paseo would be abbreviated as P-O. Okay? P-O, Paseo, a boulevard. Paseo de Castellana is a famous boulevard in Madrid. It goes from the north down south. And it's very wide and lots of trees and obviously lots of lanes in both directions. So paseo. Good. Okay, as I said, all of these abbreviations, if they're abbreviated, if you don't see the whole word, come at the beginning. Okay, they specify what kind of is it a street, a road, a square, etc. They come at the beginning. Then you will have the name of the street, of the avenue, of the road, of the square, etc. The number, and then after the number, after the street number, let's just call it the street number. After the street number, you will have a lot of other abbreviations. And now we come to the second part, or maybe even the third one, where I decode these abbreviations. Okay, so you might see this APTO, and APTO stands for apartamento. Okay, apartment. So you have a block, a lot of apartments, a block of flats or apartments, and you will have APTO and a number of that apartment. So each apartment in that building will be assigned a number, okay? And instead of seeing the whole word, you will see just the abbreviation APTO. If you see this abbreviation, it's Ático, and this is easy to understand as well, attic, okay? So if someone's invited you to their place and they live in the attic, their address will say Attico, or it will be abbreviated, okay? And then you know you have to go either walk all the way up or take the lift all the way to the last floor, okay? Attico. Then the ground floor, you will see this. Bajo, BJ is the abbreviation, okay? If you see BJ, it means bajo, and it means it's the ground floor, okay? Or the first floor, okay? So you're not going up the stairs as you step into the building. That's the floor where their apartment or their flat or an office, if it's a building with offices, where their office will be, okay? So bajo. Then you might see BL, which will stand for bloque, okay? A block. Again, in these, what did I call them earlier? Urbanizaciones, you might have 4, 5 or 6 blocks of flats, and each block might even have a number or a letter, and the abbreviation for it will be BL, okay? Very often in buildings where there's a lift, and I lived in one such building in Madrid, and my address was blah, 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 and then at the end it had this. DCHA stands for derecha, and my neighbor's address was identical to mine. We were both on the same floor, but it had this at the end, and this stands for izquierda. Derecha is right, on the right, and izquierda is on the left. What does that mean? In our case, left and right was as you stepped out of the lift. So obviously somewhere in that address it tells you that it's the 3rd floor. We will come to the abbreviation for the floor as well. So you knew you had to go to the 3rd floor, and you take the lift, you come out, you know you're on the 3rd floor, and then there's 2 doors, one on the left and one on the right. In my case, I was on the right, so my address was derecha, blah, 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 derecha, and my neighbor's address was blah, 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 izquierda, because her flat, her door was on the left of the lift, no? Okay, good. Then we have escalera, which will be abbreviated as ESC. And as I said, that means escalera. Escalera are the stairs. Again, some buildings are so big that when you step into the building, there's stairs maybe on your left and stairs on your right, and maybe down the hall there's stairs on the left and the right again. So that might be escalera 1, 2, 3, 4, or A, B, C, D, in which case this is the abbreviation for escalera, ESC. Good. Then we have puerta with the abbreviation PTA. That stands for puerta, and that's the door. So again, it might be a letter, it might be a number, puerta 8 or puerta B, and this is the abbreviation for it. Okay, good. What else do we have? Then sometimes we have this. INT stands for interior, and EXT stands for exterior. Interior means that when you step into a building, anything that's on the front facade, so any flats or offices that are on the front facade and facing the street, will be referred to as exterior. So you know that you are overlooking the street. And interior will mean that you are that the office or the apartment looks into this interior courtyard. Okay, and in some cases, this is very important when you're looking to either buy or rent something, because if the flat or an apartment is entirely interior, it might have some windows that maybe overlook the street and get more light in. But if it's mostly interior and all the rooms are sort of open, the windows open onto this interior courtyard, these courtyards in big cities especially can be quite narrow and very tall, very high, depending on obviously on the height of the building, and not much light, and definitely not much fresh air, if we can talk about fresh air in a big city anyway. But still, you don't really want to live in a place that is interior. Most of the time, sometimes you can be surprised and see that these courtyards are huge and wide and there's a lot of light and air coming in, but a lot of the times, or most of the time, interior is not the most desirable thing to either buy or rent. Okay, but these are the abbreviations: interior and exterior. Okay, good. Then we have obviously the words for what floor. In Spanish you have two. It's either planta, okay, so you will have PL for planta, which means a floor, but also O, piso, and both of these are the same, floor. You can refer to the third floor as tercera planta or tercer piso. Okay, planta and piso mean the same. Okay, good. Okay. Okay, and then again, as I said, sometimes you will have numbers with these abbreviations, sometimes you will have letters, but the important thing for you is to be able to understand what these abbreviations stand for, because if you just have to write it down as an address, it doesn't really matter. The postman or the postwoman have to know where to leave the letter. But if you're actually going somewhere and they've given you the address and you're faced with these abbreviations, you will need to know how to find your way around, no? And planta or piso means which floor it is, but then once you get to the right floor, it might say, where was I? It might say derecha or izquierda, or I don't know, it might say apartamento or escalera, A, B, C, etc. Okay, good. Okay, well, I hope this is helpful for you. I hope you don't get lost if you ever have to go somewhere in Spain and the address that they gave you is full of these abbreviations, okay? And worst case scenario, if a building is really that big, whether it's an office building or not, it's very likely that there will be a concierge and you can just ask for help there. Okay, great. Okay, have a great time. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and if you wish, do subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the upcoming lessons as well. Okay, take care and I'll see you in the next lesson.